Actually, so when I first came across Joe Zambon, I was at a house concert. You were there too, and one of the songs was called "Don't Be So Scared," and it talks about, kind of looking at our past lives, maybe our family history, and being like, this doesn't have to be your life. This doesn't have to be your future. And, it's okay to look at these things and being able to move from them. So let's hear what he had to say on that topic.
It's a sensitive thing to talk about because there is a lot of hurt there for those that I think have lived through the pain of divorce. You know, um, and the home, which is a place that love should abound. Um, for some people's experience, it was a place where it was anything but love, and those places where you're first to experience it, they never received it. And so, I mean, what I would say to somebody is more like, hey, like, what was your experience? Like, tell me about it, um, and allow a person to really reflect on it. Because sometimes I think the problem is we don't reflect upon the experience of home, and the experience we have from our parents, whether it was good or bad. But we don't take time because we really kind of just stuff that away. And then the danger of that, I think, is we can possibly repeat the exact same mistakes as our parents, because we've never taken time to reflect on it. But if we reflect on it, even the bad stuff, I think eventually the Lord can reveal a truth there. So, like, if we had, a less than favorable example in our parents of marriage, um, if we take time to reflect on it, then we can say, okay, well, that doesn't mean that I have to have a bad marriage myself. It doesn't write me off or count me out from, having a beautiful and loving family that thrives. So I think it's we have to work through a lot of those lies that then we carry through our life because of our experience. Um, and you can't expect that someone is just going to undo those knots, like, just in one day, because there's layers to it. Because what I've experienced too. There's a lot of fears, and so even like the idea of opening up and trusting another person, which you need to have for love to grow. Um, I mean, sometimes we don't even know why we're so closed off.
We don't recognize our own wounds or the wounds that we came from in our families.
Exactly, because again, we don't take time to reflect on it.
So, Keith, did you have like a thought on some of this?
Yeah, I think, and it's so amazing what he says in that block, because it was tied to also what I was already thinking from what we were speaking about in the last section, which is, Rafa, you said, why do we even need to do this? And sometimes we don't understand the depth of what the wound does in our life. And so an example came to my mind, and you think about it this way. Imagine a little girl's dad really wanted a boy, and he wanted to have his son, and he had a little girl. And in that case, there's two things. The little girl is going to have these authentic desires that are going to be getting pushed down, but also she's going to learn to behave more like what her father would have wanted. So it's not just a small shift, it's a total shift. She's going from being this feminine and radiant to trying to make herself more like the young man or the little boy that her father wanted. It's a total shift of identity that carries throughout the whole rest of life. So freedom is literally being able to reclaim how we were wired and how we want to be if we had been given the love we should have been given in the way we should have been given it. So it's a total change of freedom when we experience healing here.